The Book of True Life, Teachings of the Divine Master, Volume 12, Spiritual Teaching 352, Love Each Other. 1. Blessed moment is this in which my Spirit appears among you, a day when the roads are illuminated with my light, so that the disciples will come to these places after my word. 2. People, I receive you and welcome you. 3. I listen to your prayer, and through your heartfelt request, I extend my charity to humanity, so that every creature spiritually feels my caress. 4. With goodwill and faith, you have prepared your heart, making use of matter and spirit to receive the divine lesson. 5. By this preparation, I make my word of love be with you. 6. Disciples, from the earliest times, I have been preparing the paths that would lead you to the point where you are in these moments, to the spiritual evolution that will allow you to conceive the communication of spirit to spirit with your Father. 7. With this, I give you to understand that I have never let you walk at random, and that your steps always comply with my law, having obeyed a divine design. 8. As if I were your shadow, so I have followed you through the ages, always helping you to walk towards the path of life and the truth, because once on it, I will not be the one who follows in your footsteps, but you who come in pursuit of my footprint. 9. Here on my way will be where you will discover all the gifts that your spirit treasures, the only way for it to find in himself the necessary weapons to defend himself from the 1,000 dangers that threaten him on his walk. 10. Many have found the journey hard and long because they have not wanted to understand that they are themselves, with their errors and weaknesses, who are making the cross of their existence heavy. 11. They have lacked ideal and love for that reason. By surrendering themselves into the arms of a materialistic life, they have had to become bored, to tire. To these jaded spirits of the world, who have transmitted to their human part their fatigue of centuries, I have brought in this time my encouraging word, which is like a fine chisel that little by little polishes the hard rock of those hearts, until giving them a beautiful and harmonious shape, not only outward appearance, but true life, spiritual life. 12. I only want that rock to remain in its firmness, which later will be the foundation of a sanctuary where only truth is, a temple where my law is kept and where the voice of conscience is heard. 13. My work in this third era to teach you through human understanding has been one of divine patience, because I want that at the end of this communication, my word has been kept in the heart of each one of you. So tomorrow, when you recognize that the time of your testimony has come, you will feel that your spirit is filled with this essence, and that your lips do not refuse to express the spiritual inspiration that I poured into you. You will see yourself surrounded by large crowds, and despite this, you will feel alone for moments. But your loneliness will be external, because it will be enough that you put yourself in communication with me, so that you may feel internally my sweet company, and also the presence of a world of light, invisible to your bodily gaze, but perceptible to your spiritual senses. 14. Can you feel lonely or abandoned if you know the secret of prayer that puts you in contact with spiritual life? Will you allow yourselves to be overcome by vicissitudes, bearing in your being the strength of your Master? No, disciples, loved ones, you must not mistrust or weaken on the path of your mission, because it will happen that you cry, believing some outcast, without realizing that your tears will be falling on the treasure that you carry in your being, and that you have not wanted to contemplate. 15. Fill your chest from now on, but knowing what you keep in it, aware of how much you have, and the application of each of your gifts. 16. I do not want you to repeat only with your lips that you are heirs of my kingdom. I want you to know truly why you are my heirs and what is your inheritance. 17. Only those who know in depth what is in their spirit will know how to make my work known. Only the one who is aware of how much you know and possess, you will be able to stand firm in the face of great trials. 18. I see that you have progressed spiritually in the time that you have been listening to me, because if you take an exam before the light of your conscience, you will recognize that morally you have improved, that your faith is greater, that something of the virtue that emanates from my word you have assimilated. But I also tell you, do not settle for what you have achieved until now, but continue step by step on the path of improvement without falling into stagnation. 19. Now you know the path that you walk. You know where you are directing your steps, and you have a high ideal. 20. How many of you arrived defeated by the struggle, without faith in your heart, without firmness in your works, without knowing where you walked, without goal or hope of salvation? And today you are emerging into a new life, full of confidence and ideals. Isn't this a step forward on your spiritual path? 21. My light has long shone on your path, to deliver you from the abyss in which the spirits that do not have the light of faith and hope sink. 22. I, who know the pain that approaches men, with my teaching, I come to reveal to you the way to counteract the calamities, to overcome temptations, and achieve triumph over evil and adversity. Thus you have had a manifestation more of my love. 23. I have come to you to meet you and begin to form the new people of Israel according to my promise, made to humanity from the earliest times. 24. Is it true that many times, in moments of rest or meditation, you have sensed that something spiritual is approaching you? It was that my promise was written in your spirit before you came to earth, and once the time has come, the intuition manifests itself clearly, making you feel the moment of my presence in your path. 25. Do not believe that this feeling has been only in you who have heard this word. No, he has been in every spirit, since my new people will be formed by humanity without distinction of races, lineages, colors, and languages. 26. Now that pain, like the most bitter chalice of all time, is drunk by men of all the earth, I have surprised many of your brothers, meditating and still praying, after passing a test. I have seen great sinners and obstinate wicked stop in his work and begin to listen to the voice of his conscience. 27. That has been the moment when his spirit revealed my promise to his heart, and when man wondered internally, where has this hope that vibrates within me come from? 28. I will tell you. It springs from my divine spirit. My rod of justice touches the rock of your heart to make water flow, crystalline, of repentance, where you will wash your stains until you reach regeneration and make love sprout. 29. However severe, strict, and inexorable that you judge my justice, in truth I tell you that within it you will always find my Father's love. 30. Look at yourselves. You are continually purifying yourselves through pain, but at the same time you have the consolation, the balm, and the strength that my word pours out to you. 31. Nothing new I come to tell you, humanity, because in the law of the first times everything was said, but your spiritual smallness and your rudeness of understanding made your Father come into the world, humanized in the Messiah, to explain the content of the law with works. 32. Human generations have not known how to get to the bottom of my word, and in this time have come to give a new explanation of the law of the first era and of my works and words of the second era. 33. I come looking for hearts, because in some I want to write the commandments of my law, as if they were the tables of stone where my precepts were engraved in the first era, while I want to attract others to be an image of the tree where the Messiah was crucified. 34. Yes, humanity, there is such a spiritual backwardness among men that it will be necessary to remove the past so that they awaken and, once awake, receive my new message, which is the enlightenment of everything revealed in the past. 35. I know how to take advantage of the moment when I surprise a man devoted to meditation, to the examination of your conscience, to prayer, to announce that the hour of his resurrection to true life has arrived. It is the moment when the Spirit breaks the chains that have bound it to the world, and from the purest of its being lets escape the cry of freedom, like the convict who, after a long time in captivity, finally sees those bars that were his martyrdom, like the castaway who, after desperately fighting against the rough sea, sees the end on the horizon, the longed-for land. 36. I tell you that the tests that man has prepared for himself at this time are very great, because in this way they are necessary for your salvation. 37. For what is most dear to each man, eternal justice will come to take account of the work of every human creature. 38. Well then, beloved people, you who had the presentiment of my presence in some way accessible to your smallness, here you have me humanizing my word so that you can feel it and understand it. You who have had many moments of meditation on your past, on your present, and on the eternity that awaits you, you are acquiring a great spiritual responsibility towards humanity, that of being the witness of my new message, this word that you have heard from the skirt of the mount of the third era. 39. You still have to fight hard against the flesh and against the world to stop being its servants. You will still have to clean your heart a lot so that you make it worthy of my word. 40. For this reason it is necessary that my works subject you to a continuous struggle, and that the tests, as wise lessons, are not lacking in your life, so that you live alert. 41. I assure you that whoever has strengthened their faith in pain will be the one who most firmly remains faithful to my law, as throughout your journey. Because there are those who only feel that faith is encouraged when they receive benefits, but when they do not ask or wait, then they turn their backs on me, and that is not faith. That cannot be the bulwark to take refuge in great battles of life. 42. How important it is that this humanity comes to the knowledge of that which means spiritual restitution, so that, thinking that the spirit has a past that only God knows, accept with love, patience, respect, and even joy his cup of bitterness, knowing that with this he is washing past or present stains, he is paying off debts, and he is making merits before the law. 43. There will be no elevation in pain as long as it is not suffered with love, respect for my justice, and conformity to what each one has carved for himself. But that elevation in the middle of the tests, only the knowledge of the law of spiritual restitution, you can give elevation to men. 44. Do not tremble before these revelations. On the contrary, rejoice, thinking that this word comes to destroy the concept that you had of eternal punishment and all the interpretations that you were given of the eternal fire in times past. Fire is the symbol of pain, regret, and regret that will torment the spirit, purifying it as gold is purified in the melting pot. In that pain is my will, and in my will is my love for you. 45. If it were true that fire is the one that punishes human sins, then all the bodies of which they have sinned, they would have to be thrown into the fire here on earth, in life, because dead they would no longer feel. Why bodies never rise to spiritual space? On the contrary, once their mission is over, they descend to the bowels of the earth, where they merge with nature, from where they took life. 46. But if you believe that what you call eternal fire is not for the body, but for the spirit, that is another grave error, because in the spiritual kingdom there are no material elements, nor does fire have action on the spirit. That which is born of the flesh is flesh. What is born of spirit, spirit is. 47. My word does not descend to attack any belief. If anyone were to think this, they are in serious error. My word comes to explain the content of everything that has not been properly interpreted, and that therefore has produced confusions that have been transmitted from generation to generation among humanity. 48. What value would my law and my doctrine have if they were not capable to save the spirits from error and sin? And what object would my presence have as a man in the world if there were to be many who were to be lost forever in an endless atonement? 49. Hear my word, and you will see how much darkness leaves you. Hear my word, and you will find all the revelations that your spirit longs for, the knowledge you need to have, and all the explanations to your doubts. 50. Everything that man must know about the spiritual life in order to prepare his trip to that valley, I come to reveal it to you in my teachings. 51. Thus you will have an idea of spiritual evolution. You will have knowledge of the stages that your spirit goes through, and you will know the meaning of restitution. But if you really want to understand my teachings, I tell you that it is necessary that you learn to get out of that plane of materialism in which you live, and where it is impossible for you to behold the light of truth. 52. The mind alone is not capable of conceiving the content of this work. It also requires spiritual sensitivity and intuition, to be able to penetrate to the bottom of my spiritual doctrine. 53. That is the reason why I have been teaching the prayer from spirit to spirit to my disciples, because without that form of praying, men will not be able to achieve the enlightenment of their understanding by other means. 54. The times announced by the prophecies, those in which the Spirit of truth would come to clarify everything, they are precisely those in which you live. But I have wanted to surprise you by communicating in this way, to test your penetration in the sense of the prophecies, where it is said that I would come to communicate spiritually by human understanding. 55. Now that my promise has been fulfilled by communicating with men through themselves, I want you not to forget that one of the greatest purposes of my communication was that you spread to the world the way to pray and elevate that I have taught you, so that humanity knows how to prepare to feel my presence in your spirit, in your mind, and in your heart. 56. Do you not believe, beloved people, that it would be better if you were the ones who announced to humanity my presence in spirit in this third era, and not the elements unleashed, the storms unleashed, the earthquakes devastating cities, seas devastating the land, and the land turning into sea? Don't you think it would be more spiritual and more humane for you to anticipate these events with your fulfillment of love and charity? 57. Prepare yourselves in truth and in spirit. I will take these people in imitation of fervent Noah to entrust you the construction of a spiritual ark, in whose bosom men will find salvation. An ark built in faith, with spirituality, with charity. May it be a true temple of peace, security, and refuge from calamities, both material and spiritual. 58. When times pass and humanity investigates and scrutinizes the testimonies and signs to verify the truth of my manifestation, you will understand that everything that happened in these times was nothing but one of many signs that announced to the world the end of my communication and the beginning of another stage. 59. How much have the prophets of the third era slept? They seldom open their eyes and get ready to contemplate what is coming. That is why these people do not know how much they should know about the future, as Israel used to be, centuries before an event. He was prepared and admonished by his prophets. 60. It had to be my word that warned you and awakened you, as I do this day. Also, I announce that divine justice will touch the rulers of the earth, because they too will purify his spirit. They will begin to be touched, because in this way I will prepare the time of peace, joy, and union that will follow the time of testing. 61. After the new flood, the iris will shine as a symbol of peace, and a new covenant that spiritually humanity will make with his Lord. 62. You must expect the fight to be big, because you will all have to fight against the dragon of evil, whose weapons are ambition, hatred, earthly power, lust, vanity, selfishness, lies, idolatry, and fanaticism, all the forces of evil born from the heart, against which you will have to fight with great courage and faith until you defeat them. 63. When the dragon of your passions has been killed by your weapons of light, a new world will appear before man, a new world being the same, but which will seem more beautiful, because then men will know how to take it for their well-being and progress, infiltrating into all their works an ideal of spirituality. 64. Hearts will be ennobled. Minds will have light. The Spirit will know how to manifest its presence. All the good will prosper. All that is high will serve as a seed for human works. 65. In the material, you will also feel the transformation. The rivers will be abundant. The barren lands will be fertile. The elements will return to their course, because there will be harmony between man and God, between man and divine works, between man and the laws dictated by the author of life. 66. Does my word seem like a fantasy to you? It is that you cannot realize that you are at the end of a material stage and in the beginning of a spiritual age. Your passage through this world is so brief that many do not manage to observe the changes that take place in the material life or in the spiritual life, because sometimes those transitions take centuries to complete. Only the study through a mind elevated by faith, by goodness and prayer, is able to realize the passage of time on beings. 67. When you are in spirit, you who hear me with some skepticism will be able to contemplate this truth in all its fullness, because then you will establish the comparison of your existence on earth in the different occasions when you have come to inhabit it, and you will be able to appreciate the evolution, the endings and the beginnings of each material stage and of each spiritual age. Then you will regret not having known how to take advantage of the experience of your spirit, to have carried out works worthy of those who have been disciples of life for so long. 68. I leave these words written in your conscience, so that when you are witnesses of their fulfillment, bless my word and rise up to bear witness to my doctrine and the explanation of all the events that I now prophesy to you. 69. I know that the repentance of those who did not believe or denied my word will be very great, when they are witnessing its fulfillment, and their hearts will escape the sentences, asking my forgiveness for having doubted. But I also know that among them will be those who will be filled with fervor, becoming the most indefatigable sowers of my teachings. 70. Man has always needed to keep his faith like a living flame of extraordinary deeds that meditate and elevate your feelings. Due to the lack of spiritual evolution, he doubts the truth when it manifests with simplicity and does not arrive wrapped with veils of mystery. 71. You have always sought me through pain. Few are those who seek me through love and gratitude. 72. Man must know himself so that he realizes that it is not only matter, it also has a noble, good part, which is the spirit. 73. Those who have risen spiritually recognize Mary as spirit, without attributing any determined form to her. But those who need to see to believe, their spiritual backwardness forces them to look for images to represent your spiritual qualities. 74. If you imitate the Master by bending matter so that your spiritual gifts are developed, you will be able to receive from me everything you need to practice good. But do not do it to magnify yourself before others, but to imitate your Master. 75. If you seek God, seek Him in spirit, in the good, in the wonders of nature, but do not seek God in the pictures. 76. Mary is the Spirit fused in such a way to the divinity that it constitutes one of its parts, as are its three phases, the Father, the Word, and the light of the Holy Spirit. Thus Mary is the Spirit of God that manifests itself and represents divine tenderness. 77. Mary is the one who inspires and encourages you to make merits and to receive the trials of the world in which you live with conformity and preparation, so that you may find spiritual bliss in the midst of testing, as this contributes so that your spirit reach higher elevation. 78. The spirit will go to enjoy God, but first it has to evolve, inhabiting different matters, to then follow its evolution on higher planes until it merges into eternal perfection. 79. My people, do not be specific to listen to my word only. Analyze it, so that when you no longer listen to me in this way, you feel strong and follow the example of your Master, doing good to humanity, that your actions always be within my truth. My peace be with you.